Hello everyone, Wolfrunner25 here, back with another Warframe video, and today I'm going to show you how to easily do the dreaded Mashing Rank 9 test that so many players seem to have an absolute terrible amount of time trying to get past because it's a stealth mission. A lot of people usually struggle with stealth missions, so there are two particular items that you need, and the first is this Banshee. It can be even rank 1, and you can get her from your Tenno Labs. You don't have to do any sort of grinding from a boss or whatever in order to get her. Go to your clan's Tenno Labs, and you can replicate the research. So you can get her blueprint, the systems, the neuroptics, and the chassis. Of course, you will need the materials in order to craft those pieces, and then also wait 3 days. So if you're about to get there, if you're currently struggling with it, definitely wait for everything to craft. Don't speed through it, because master ranking still follows through into the next one, so you can keep ranking up other weapons if you're afraid that it's going to disappear. Currently, there sometimes is a UI bug where it won't show up to your next level after you rank up. Usually you'll have to reset your game. That's usually mostly on consoles and possibly the Switch, because the Switch platform is particularly at the moment pretty buggy. Go to your clan's dojo, go to your Tenno Labs, you can go into Warframe, and make sure that whatever clan you're in has all the current research that mine does. And a quick note before I move on to the next thing that you need, also get Najah. Najah Prime will be coming out soon, but if you want another tank frame, another frame that's like really good, almost equivalent to Rhino, pretty much a faster version of Rhino, get Najah. He's really good. And also get Wukong. Wukong Prime is out, but if you don't have the current money or platinum in order to buy him, or the current relics to get him, you can get the regular version as well. Because I mean, the only variations is style and a few minor static. Wukong's also really another good survivability frame. So let's go back to my ship, and I'll show you the other item that you're going to need. So when you're in your orbiter, go to the market, go to equipment, or not equipment, I'm sorry, go to weapons, go to melee weapons, and go to Redeemer. And you can buy the blueprint off the market for 20,000 credits as Master Rank 4 weapon, but you will also need a dual Skana and a Vosto and 2 Argon crystals in order to craft it. So if you don't have any of this stuff, I do apologize, but this is honestly, if you want to beat it really easily, you're going to absolutely want this particular setup, because you could use Huros Kubro, but your Kubro is not with you when you do the measuring test. But then you could also use the Prisma Shade. But guess what? Your Sentinel is also not with you in this measuring test. So you're going to have to rely solely on weapons and frames. Now, let's just make a quick assumption that you have completed the Sacrifice quest and you've got an Excalibur Umbra. So what you could also do, if you don't want to take the time to craft the Redeemer, but it's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a lot easier if you have the Redeemer. If you don't want to grind for that, you can use the Skiajati, because what the Skiajati does is on finisher, it will make you invisible for a certain amount of time. It just has that as a passive. And because these enemies are level 1 when you go and do the Master Rank test, you can do it completely unmodded. So now that I've shown you all of what you're going to need, these are the only 3 particular ways I could figure out personally to easily, really easily do the Master Rank test. And just to show you how easy it is, I'm going to do this with a completely unmodded Banshee, which is rank 30. You could probably do this at rank 0 with Redeemer and rank 0 with Banshee as well. This is also a completely unmodded Redeemer. So if you were to put mods onto it when you do decide to do this, I would highly recommend probably going for a hybrid build with status and crit chance. But just to show you, you can easily do this without relying on any mods whatsoever. Both of these things will be entirely unmodded. And if you're wondering why the Redeemer, even though it still makes noise, well, guess what? Banshee's passive, weapon noises are hushed so that enemies cannot hear them. So she can be a silence killer, because you cannot use your Tenno form in this, and you cannot use your abilities in this. You have to completely rely on frames and weapons. And stealth, if you consider that a requirement. But you get the idea. So we're going to select Cephalon Samaris. Visit Cephalon Samaris.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks, if they could.
You'll spawn in here and just go to the right. Master Rank 9 test. So if you're about to qualify, you can actually keep practice this. You can keep practicing and practicing and practicing. So since I'm MR27, I can just head right in there. So let's go ahead.
full frontal attack is not always the best option. Using your stealth abilities, eliminate all enemies without being detected.
So, step 1, you're going to spawn here, hit the B button once, or just fire off once. Wait for these guys to come around. And you can actually slightly peek around the corner. Because you don't need a stance monster the Redeemer in order for this to work. Just as long as you're not seen, just be patient. As long as that Reticule's on them, you'll get the instant kill. You'll move on to the next section. They're all going to spawn in. Take this first guy out on the right. Make sure he doesn't get too close before he sees you. It's really about taking your time. You can actually do long distance kills with the Redeemer as well. I wouldn't try to go too far, because then the damage drops off and you can't do as much damage. I'm waiting for this one guy to come around the column. I don't... Nope. Okay, he's going to come around this way. Now he's dead. There should be one more guy up top. Hopefully he won't see me. Ah! Almost got a little bit too ahead of myself there. He's standing up there. Now he's taken care of. Next section. The first guy is going to spawn right in front of you, so don't be too alarmed when that happens. Just be calm about it. Don't go for the stealth kill. Take him out. Go for that Lancer on the side. Kind of peek around the corner. Be safe with this. Make sure that reticule is red, that they can't see you. He just came around the corner. He almost saw me. He's dead. If you just don't be too overambitious and think for an absolute certainty that you're going to get the kill, because I don't know how the damage drop off particularly works with the Redeemer as far as distance. So don't be too risky with it. Now he's dead. And it's complete, guys. That's how you easily do the Mashing Rank 9 test. A lot of people have been struggling with this. There could possibly be other ways in order to do this, but I personally don't know off the top of my head. Like, this is the absolute easiest way, because it's easy to attain stuff, easy to attain weapons in the Warframe, and, you know, like I said, if you don't want to try and go through that grind with the Redeemer to get it, maybe you could use Skiyajati, but you're going to have to be more patient than I was just there, because the Skiyajati only gives you a limited time of amount of invisibility. It's never, or I'm sorry, it has a limited duration on it, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to try and think real quick if there is any other possible way to easily do this. So just let me go back to my ship, think for a second, and I'll be right back. Alright, so other weapons that could cover possible long distances is Sword and Shield. I think there's a particular way you can throw your shield, or you could go for the cost assist. Let me see if there's a Mashing Rank requirement for this. It's Mashing Rank 7. So when you hold down the B button, it leaves behind a trail of corrosive, but it's not very long, so I wouldn't recommend it, but it is an alternative option. There's also the Sarata, because when you do the charge attack with those now, you still throw them. The Falcor, that's actually in the Corpus Energy Labs. I'm not sure if there's a Mashing Rank requirement, but you could go with throwing weapons like glaives. The Falcor is considered a glaive type weapon, as is the Glaive Prime. And there's also the Kestrel, which is supposed to be like a boomerang type weapon. Oh, there's also the Sarpa. Let me think for a second. Okay, so the Sarpa is Mashing Rank 8 requirement, but you need an Axe Stiletto in order to craft that. So you could always do that if you chose to, because it's also a Gunblade. I don't know if it has the exact same actions, but you could try that. So let's also say, even though you're Master Rank 9, which means you probably haven't gotten to very far into the game, but let's just say you're somebody who was around when Plague Star was around, and you got an arcane called Exodia Contagion. Yeah, it is Contagion, I'm sorry. Exodia Contagion, after a bullet jump or double jump, melee while aim gliding launches a projectile that explodes on impact. So these are actually very expensive on the market, but if you're somebody who has thrown a little bit of money at the game, you could always possibly go and buy this off the trade market. Always go and check your prices at warframe.market to make sure you're not overpaying or underpaying, just to be fair. You possibly could use that. Like I said, you could use the regular glaive if you so choose, because they're level 1, they're not going to be, that much of an issue to take down. So as for frames that you could use, I mean, if you're good with stealth, if you are really, really good with stealth, maybe you don't have to use Banshee. But I can't remember if those shots are silent with the Redeemer or not. I'm pretty sure that they're not, so that's why most people recommend Banshee. Experiment around with it. This is probably the best way you're going to accomplish it. The only other possible way, the only other kind of frame that could possibly make it easy is Wisp, because when you're using Wisp, her passive is flowing between dimensions. Wisp becomes invisible to enemies while in the air. So if you were to put mods on her that allows her aim glide and everything to last longer, like the Firewalker, there's a couple other mods off the top of my head that I can't really name, but that's the only other frame that I can imagine that you could possibly use for this. Maybe you could use Zephyr or something, something else stealthy if you're good. Like I said, if you're not good at stealth, you just have to be very patient. So I don't want to let this video drag on too long. Like I said, I think Banshee is a particular best for this Master Rank test. It's what a lot of people get stuck on. Those two things are really easy to make. Just have access to them. You've got the market to buy the Redeemer or a throwing weapon, and you can just go to your clan's dojo, get the pieces for Banshee. Just be patient. Remember, Warframe is a very grindy game. You're going to need patience. Build that stuff, do your test, and like I said, in the Simulacrum, you can keep practicing that at Cephalon Samaris, at the relay, you can keep practicing that over and over and over again. So maybe you won't need Banshee if you're somebody who's very patient and you like to being stealthy or whatever, and you have the Skiajati, or even if you don't have the Skiajati, just be patient. So I hope you guys found this video useful. I'm sorry that if it wasn't, I tried my best to think of the best suggestions that I could. But if you do have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section below. And remember, everybody, strive proudly and howl loudly. Good night, everybody.